Welcome in. This is the debut episode of Leave My Saturdays Alone. I'm your host, Garrett Burroughs. This week, my guest is going to be Chickster, aka Alex Chick. Chick, how are we doing today?
I feel like the viewers get tired of seeing me and you together sometimes, but you know what? Eventually, they'll stop seeing both of our big foreheads in this thing, and like you said guest, and I feel honored to be a guest, your first guest, but no, I won't be here every week. I have two other shows that we have to do anyway, so it's
That is
okay.
true.
We'll
That is
we'll be
true.
fine.
I thought about doing this first episode by myself, but I feel like it might be easier, take a little bit of the pressure off to have somebody else as well. I'm gonna try to get other people from
What
Vendetta in here every
pressure?
week as
What
well.
are we
So
talking about? Just go up there and yap, dude. What are we doing?
that is what you're best at too. That's why I wanted to have you on week
Yeah,
one
there you
because you're
go.
you're a professional yapper.
Yeah, well,
So
he told me before. He's like, "Hey, we gotta keep the shits like kind of like short. Don't be
quicker.
yapping too much." And I'm like, "All right, my bad."
Yeah, so this, as you guys kind of saw from the title, this is the show for the people who can't be left alone on Saturdays. They're always doing shit on Saturdays. Every single week, you just want to sit on the couch, watch college football, and you can't. We got you covered here at Vendetta Sports Media. This is just going to be a quick little recap show. We're going to be going over the top games of the week, biggest takeaways, kind of diving into each game really quickly with some key takeaways. And at the end of the episode, we're going to be giving our player of the week.
Mhm,
Alex, are you ready?
mhm, 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 mhm.
So the games that we're going to go over on the schedule this week, we're going to start by talking with both. We're going to talk about both FSU games because it needs to be addressed. We're going to be going over LSU, USC. We're going to be going over Oregon, Idaho. We're going to go over Bama, Western Kentucky, Miami versus Florida, Georgia versus Clemson, Colorado versus North Dakota State, and I feel obligated to close out the show with Notre Dame and Texas A&M because
Woo!
there's been some shots being thrown in the Vendetta Slack and on Vendetta Sports Media articles that are be coming out by a certain somebody, and I feel like things need to be addressed. So we're going to close out the show with Notre Dame and Texas A&M.
I'll let you explain that because I'm ignorant on that one. So but I feel like you'll address that. So
We'll
it's okay.
we'll we'll get there at the end. We'll get there at the end.
Okay, cool.
So we have to talk about these FSU games that we've had so far. FSU was arguably the favorite to win the ACC. Now their over under is set at 8.5 for the year. This is a team that's probably not looking for the playoff at all. They may not even make the ACC championship.
Playoffs.
First game of the year was the year opener, right? They were in Dublin against Georgia Tech, who played way above their batting average in that game. They dominated the run game. DJU went 19 for 27, 193, no touchdowns, but no interceptions. The offense felt very restrictive. There's a lot of RPO, heavy RPO action. They had a really solid game tying drive in the fourth quarter. Nothing necessarily stood out from Florida State though. Haynes King and Jamal Haynes dominated the run game for Georgia Tech. They dominated time of possession, which is kind of going to be the key for their success this year if they want to have sustained success and be a bowl team at the end of the year. I
Mhm.
I had concerns after that first game. Alex, do you have any takeaways from that first game in Dublin?
Florida State sucks. I mean, well, okay, the first game. Okay, let me rephrase. So Georgia Tech played a really good game. They played really good. So at that time, I'm like, okay, well, Florida State might not suck. Georgia Tech played a really good game. It was a close game to the end. But so from that point, yeah, it was a good game. It was like, oh wait, what a good way to start off college football. That next game was not pretty though. And so, but I was kind of concerned for Florida State because obviously they lost Jordan Travis to an injury last year, but now he's I believe on the Jets now. They lost half of their defense, and that defense was solid last year. They all opted out for the draft last year, so you were like coming into this year and you're wondering, okay, how does Florida State have that depth? Were all their guys last year guys and now they stink or like what? And as it's showing, it's not looking like it's a good thing for them right now. So
So the defense, yes, you touched on it. They lost a lot of really good pieces to the NFL draft, but this was still supposed to be one of the better defenses, not only in the ACC, but like a top 20, top 25 defense in the country, headlined by edge rusher Patrick Payton, who has kind of been non-existent through two games.
right.
He pulled a ghost performance against Georgia Tech, and this BC game, we're gonna jump into the second one here now as well. They got curb stomped at home by Boston College.
I
That's a
I
that's a
honestly
bad look.
I honestly thought. Like, and maybe it was like, okay, maybe we're too out on them. I'm like, they should bounce it back. Boston College is not like a formidable school, but it's they're gonna come play you, like they're gonna play you.
Well,
And
Florida
so
State they closed or I'm sorry, Boston College closed as a plus 700 money line.
yeah,
Like they were supposed
so
to get like dicked on, and it all started with DJU's play. I know I
yeah,
don't want to harp on the kid, but I mean 21 for 42 is miserable against someone like Boston College. Boston College, this was set up like you said as a perfect rebound game for Florida State, and to put up that kind of performance at home, 20 total rushing yards from the skill position players.
yikes,
20 total rushing yards, whereas Boston College put up 274 on the
yeah,
ground. Like it's unacceptable. I
yeah.
just I know
It
that
all around
I just
bad
know that
performance.
Mike Norvell is sitting there punching the air at the fact that they brought in DJU this offseason. They had
Yeah.
a chance to go get Cam Ward. Trey touched on it in his stock notes, which you can find on VettaSportsMedia.com.
Oh, I have to
And
read those. I still have to
he
read
put it
them.
on Twitter as well. It's a 28-minute read, by the way. It is
Holy shit!
ridiculous.
Wow.
He put out a tweet saying that Florida State's offseason was kind of cooked after they lost out on Cam Ward and had to settle for DJU, and it's kind of proving to be true. I mean, we'll touch on the Miami game here shortly, but I mean, DJU's play through 2 games it leaves a lot to be desired.
There was a time when we couldn't say DJU's name in the Slack chat, and Trey would automatically delete because for his rookie draft. Like it was a whole ass thing, and now it was for nothing. This guy's he's buns. He's cheeks. You look in the dictionary where cheeks is at, and his face is there. He's horrible. So Florida State's in for a long season. Now, the funniest outcome I could think of though is Florida State winning the next 10 games and ending 10-2. I
It
just don't think it'll happen though.
Objectively, it would be hilarious. However, there should be major concerns. Their next game is against Memphis. I would have major concerns that they're going to be able to like at least cover the spread, let alone win this game outright against Memphis.
Something's got to give. You're gonna slippery slope, or you're gonna have to fight against the tide. Something like
I mean,
that. So.
at what point if DJU struggles against Memphis, like at what point? I know you brought him in to be the starter, but at what point do you consider making a change? Like I just wonder where that line is for this team that had college football playoff aspirations and now they start the year 0-2. Just something to think about.
Just put it on there. Put a tab in it.
Moving on to one of the more fun games to watch from this past weekend of week 1 of college football. The showdown in the desert at Allegiant Stadium, USC taking on LSU. USC came out on top 27-20, which some people might have viewed as a surprise because USC was going into the game +4 underdogs. It was a quarterback showdown. Miller Moss and Garrett Nussmeier threw that thing around. Nussmeier finished 29 for 38, 304, 2 touchdowns and an interception. A very solid game. Miller Moss, 27 for 36, 378, a single touchdown, no interceptions. Very clean game from both guys. My biggest takeaway from the quarterback play, and I'm going to give you some more stats here about the skill position players. My biggest takeaway is that these guys ooze confidence. These guys look like they can make all the throws. These guys started each of their bowl games last year, was bowl game MVP. Both teams won. Garrett Nussmeier looks like one of the next good LSU quarterbacks. Miller Moss seems to have stepped in for Caleb Williams really, really well.
Is he a true freshman or is he? No, he's redshirt, isn't he?
Miller Moss?
Yeah. What year is he?
He's in year 2 or 3, I think. He's been waiting for a while. He's been sitting in USC for a minute.
He might be redshirt sophomore. I think that's what he is. I can't
Potentially.
remember. Okay,
sorry. Couple things to note on here really quick. Kyron Lacey's up next for LSU. LSU seems to pump out receivers every single year, and Kyron Lacey is next up. In the opening drive alone, he went 4 for 4 into the game, 7 for 94 with a ridiculous touchdown in that first quarter as well. On the other side of the ball, receiver-wise, Kyron Hudson gave you the catch of the year. If you have not seen that, please go to Twitter after this episode and look up Kyron Hudson's catch.
It was nasty.
Like a spinning 360 one-handed, lost control on the way down, got possession on the way down. It was reviewed. It was confirmed as a catch. Ridiculous. He also played really well as well. He finished with 5 for 83. Mason Taylor, who's the son of Dolphins legend Jason Taylor, shout out Jackson Law and all Dolphin fans out there. He played really well as well. 7 catches for 62 yards. And then the speed demon, Zachariah Branch for USC, almost took one to the house on a kickoff return. He also ended up with 4 for 56. My big takeaway from this game as a whole was D'Anton Lynn was brought in from UCLA to be the defensive coordinator, and the first drive was shaky. But that defense, especially the interior of the defensive line, looks really, really solid this year. USC, I'm not going to go as far as to say they have like one of the better defenses in the country because I feel like that might be a bit of an overreaction.
We're getting a little reactionary.
No, definitely not. But there is a noticeable difference on this USC defense this year.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a difference. Last year, like USC defense was saying, "Hey, ole," and then they just let them go, and so like there's already a big difference. USC played, they had to play at least some decent defense to stop LSU, or at least enough to win. So yeah, I agree that the USC's defense, and I think it helps that Lincoln Riley actually, tried to recruit defensive guys. Crazy, like, hey, I mean, what a concept. Like, the dude was straight offense, and then he's like, hey, this shit's not working. Actually, I had one of the best quarterback prospects of all time, and we're not winning games. What are we talking about? So yeah, defense is important. Defense wins championships. I don't want to. I'm not raining because you're a USC guy, so I'm not raining on your parade. But that it's a good game. It's like, okay, now can they be consistent? Now we got to worry about if the defense can be consistent. Offensively, I wasn't really Lincoln Riley. He's shown that offensively they're going to be fine, but it's really nice to see the defense come in and help and just be able to hold their own for a while and like stand on business for a minute. And so that shows positivity signs like going into the season and for the rest of the season. How well this team, how high this team can go. So
it was a very good opening impression for D'Anton Lynn and USC. Positive things to come. Next up on the docket, I just wanted to touch on this one really, really quickly, just because this game was way closer than it should have been. We've got Oregon and Idaho. Oregon closed as like probably close to 30 or 40 point favorites, and they won by 10 in Eugene. Dylan Gabriel went crazy. 41 for 49, 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Tez Johnson also with bananas. 12 catches, 81 reception or 81 yards for 2 touchdowns. Tez Johnson, Dylan Gabriel, great game. Should Duck fans be concerned at the opening game only beating Idaho by 10 at home?
No. I could see where, like, at first glance it's cause for concern. But you pointed out how well the offense played, and then just catching up on the game, it was like there was a lot of penalties against Oregon, very sloppy game, discipline wise, and that's what and discipline, like if you're getting a lot of penalties and a lot of stupid penalties, that shit kills you. It kills drives and helps Idaho have drives. So. And being that, like, if it was a first year kind of head coach, I'd be kind of like, okay, maybe, we're really worried about this. But I think it was just kind of it's fucking Idaho. Let's just whatever play. And it got closer than they wanted to. I don't think that shit will happen again. I think that was just Oregon not really respecting their opponent and still winning. However, I think all things are clicking except for the discipline wise. So I think they'll be fine once they nail that down. And usually that's what week 1 is for. Or if you play week 0, you think that's what it's for. So I expect cleaner games from Oregon ahead discipline wise, but that offense is clicking. It's going to be nasty. And we know that Oregon can play defense as well. So I mean, yeah, there's room concern. There's concerns like, okay, what if they don't fix it? But I don't have that kind of like doubt that they don't fix it. I feel like that's an easy fix for them. So
I agree. I think that it might have been like playing down to your competition.
I think that's what it is.
And it's week 1 jitters. Dylan Gabriel's in a new system. I know that I talked about he was nearly perfect the entire game, but new game jitters. I think, like you said, they'll work out the kinks in the armor. I think they should be just fine. It is worth noting, though. I would go look at this highlight as well. Idaho did pull off the triple reverse pass for the touchdown, like in NCAA football 25, the unstoppable play. They pulled it off live in a game. It was ridiculous. Just want to touch on the debut of new head coach Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. Great success. Very nice success. Alabama trumped Dog
It,
walked Western Kentucky
it's
63-0.
Western Kentucky, but yes,
Jalen Milroe did look good. He was
he
7
looked
for
good.
9 with 200 yards with 3 touchdowns. Also ran in a touchdown as well, the first one of the season.
Not sure if
Uh,
I'm in on him yet, though. I'm not gonna
Still,
lie to you.
I think the jury's still out on me as well. I think he's got some stuff there though. I
Yeah.
want to talk about really quickly true freshman Ryan Williams.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh,
seems like we've missed out on those elite Alabama receivers for a hot minute now. It just seems like they're not really pumping out those elite producers at the wide receiver levels, kind of since like Devontae Smith left. Ryan Williams is going to be a dude. He had 2
yeah.
receptions, but for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. This kid is 17 years old.
17. You
He
want
re
context? I'm 11 years older than the dude.
he was supposed to be in the 25 draft cycle or the draft cycle. He was supposed to be in the 25 recruiting cycle and reclassified to get out of school early to go to Alabama. So this kid, when he's gonna be NFL bound, you can already tell.
Oh yeah.
This kid is going to be 20 years old when the draft comes around if he declares early as a true junior.
I feel
It's
like he's going
ridiculous.
to. Yeah.
Right? The sky's the limit for that kid. It's ridiculous.
Fucking A, dude.
I don't have a lot of notes on Georgia and Clemson. That was kind of touted as one of the games of the week on Saturday. A
Yeah.
snooze fest of a first half, which we kind of touched on as
I
well.
actually the first half was really competitive.
Mhm.
As
Very
far
defensive.
like yeah, it was very defensive. Georgia and Clemson, I don't know, they just didn't seem like they couldn't get anything going. But this is where good coaching comes, and this is where Dabo Sweeney is his. You know, if you read it backwards, it's oh bad. Like, you know, you're not even sure if that dude can coach anymore without having his athletes. And I mean, the nature of it, you know, whether you like it or not, is you got to be NIL, like pro NIL, or you're not gonna have the
Got to hit the
guys.
transfer portal.
It sounds fucked up, but someone on Twitter said you can't have an offense full of white guys and expect success. And I'm not saying I agree, but if you ain't got brothers on the team, like you know, you don't got
It's true.
athletes. Like that's usually what it is. So no, it's on the outside looking in, and you know, Kirby's smart. He's smart. He made fucking adjustments at the half, and they just fucking curb stomped Clemson in the second half. So
Trevor
yeah.
Etienne was suspended for this game, so we saw a decent amount of Branson Robinson early, which really made me happy. I'm pretty high on Branson Robinson. We did see a little bit of Michael Williams as well. Michael Williams may not have stuffed the stat sheet as we may have liked, but his presence was felt along the defensive line. I think this was a really good start for Georgia to make those second half adjustments. I would be really concerned if I was a Clemson fan. We both kind of said that, this game might run away from Clemson, but you touched on it. The inability to bring in recruits in the transfer portal is going to be the downfall of this team. It
Yeah.
just is. Miami went into Gainesville and beat Florida. Final score 41-17. Cam Ward is the fucking everybody's riding him right now to win the Heisman, which I mean, kind of deservedly so. 26 for 35, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns to 1 interception is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Damian Martinez, who transferred in from Oregon State, a decent showing, 15 carries for 65 yards, and I want to say he had a reception as well. Would have liked to see a little bit more production out of Martinez, but in spurts, he looked really solid. We'll take it. 2 things of note for me from this game was Miami might have a dude in I don't know how to say his last name. Restrepo, maybe.
Hey, let me tell you something, Garrett. Let me tell you something. Top 10 rankings, wide receiver rankings was in there. He was in my top. He was.
We're gonna fact check after
I
that.
I will fact check it right now.
You look that up. I also wanted
I
to
don't even know
note
where to
Ruben
go.
Bain for Miami was out for this game, and they still put up 3 sacks. Imagine when Bain comes back. Ruben Bain is one of the best young edge rushers in the country, and they still put up 3 sacks on a decent. Yeah, it's maybe a bit of a stretch. Against in a game, 3 sacks, pretty solid without your best pass rusher.
That's crazy.
I also
Yeah.
want to read this quote from Billy Napier after the game. I don't know if you saw this or not,
I don't
but
think I
Billy
did.
Napier is being roasted on social media right now, and rightfully so.
Wait. What was the rankings under?
Draft Busters 2025 wide receiver draft rankings.
Draft Busters. Let me just
But I
look.
don't think
Okay, go ahead.
Restrepo is draft eligible. And if he is, I'll let you look it up though. I'm gonna read you this quote though,
That's
really
tough.
quick. Billy Napier throws an insult at Gator fans during his press conference. Not the best start. If we can focus on those things and not what some guy in his basement in rural Central Florida is saying on social media, then we've got a chance to get better, right?
Damn.
Now, I'm no coach. I know you're a coach.
Yeah.
I'm no coach. One, I don't know that I would be insulting my fan base like that after week 1 when I got embarrassed at home. I don't know that that's the move. 2, does Billy Napier know that there's no basements in Florida?
Oh yeah, because of the
Because they're at sea level.
yeah.
Like there's no basements in Florida. So like I don't understand how we can make a comment like that.
I
Florida's in trouble.
listen.
Billy Napier's gonna be gone.
I can understand a little bit because like naturally we get the know it all, and I was one of those people when at my brother's games that think they fucking know everything and just screaming bullshit from the sidelines, just talking to everything like all the Twitter. So I understand a little bit. However, to address it publicly is kind of crazy. Like
That's a bad look.
like that's just something I talk about with the other coaches. Like these fucking guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like whatever. Like if you can't talk to a person and say, hey, what does the backside guard do on counter, and they don't know how to answer, then why are you worried about it? You know what I'm saying? And half the time, like if you ask any of those guys that they don't know what to do on that, and then you can say, okay, what does front side do? Like you can ask what every position does on counter. If they can't answer that question, then why are you worried about it? So I'm not sure if I would, publicly criticize, my fans. But 2, if you're worried about the fucking fans after you got your ass beat
At home.
40, like you're worrying about the wrong things, dude. Like you're angry, cool. Like when I get angry, when I'm coaching, when I get angry, I'm like, fuck, I can get angry at a kid. That's fine. Like if he fucks up, and he's like, okay, but how did I put that kid in the right position to fucking succeed? And right now, as Florida, like you're not putting your team the best position to like succeed because you just got fucking curb stomped, And granted, Miami is pretty talented team. Like still at the same time, I think as a coach, you need to have a little bit better poise to not like you can criticize yourself. You can say, hey, this is what went wrong with the game plan, whatever. But to go out there and criticize your fans, knowing they probably don't know as much as you, yeah, fuck. I could sit here and tell you like these people don't know what the fuck I know. Like that's fine. Whatever. Like that makes no sense. That you're looking at the wrong thing. You're worried about the wrong thing. So if he put that much energy into criticizing fans, into his coaching, maybe they'll fucking get somewhere one day. I don't know. We'll see. Florida hasn't been good in fucking how long? Like how long has it been since Florida's actually been good?
Like a prominent team, it's been a minute. I'm
So,
also
there you go.
curious to see if at some point along this season Mario Cristobal just ruins everything. Hopefully not. This Miami team looks to be the favorite to win the ACC right now, but we'll see if they stumble along the way. Really quickly, wanted to touch on the CU North Dakota State game. Hold on, let me make you big really quick. Let me make you big.
Yeah, hold up. There you go.
Xavier Estrepo, number 9. Shout out to Chickster.
Yeah,
Shout out to
man.
Chickster.
Hey,
All right, I'll give you love for that. I'll give you love for that.
Hey, dude, sometimes my brain works a little bit. Sometimes you rub the cat ears just a little bit, get the right spot, and you get a little magic. You get a little magic in there. I'm telling you.
Shador Sanders looked great, right? 26 for 34, almost threw for 500 yards, 4 touchdowns and an interception.
Are you like before we get into this? Are you like a Colorado hater kind of guy, or are you like
yeah? I hate Colorado.
Oh, okay,
I hate him.
Okay. I
hate him. I
just
can't stand CU.
I feel like we had to preface that before we got into it. Okay, now go ahead.
Shador looked fine. 500 yards, really great drive to close the first half.
Yeah,
when they went down like 98 yards, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Jimmy Horn
had the game of his life. It wasn't fine. He looked good.
Jimmy Horn had the game of his life, 7 for 198 and a touchdown. Travis Hunter went bananas, although 3 of his catches should have been offensive pass interference. He went for 7 for 132 and a touchdown.
2 of them.
this is the same exact team from last year. I'm sorry. Nothing about this team changed. The offensive
No.
line is still really bad.
Yep.
They still have holes all over the defense, except for number 20 at defensive tackle. I think he could be a dude potentially. He might be a dude. 59 total rushing yards is it's like the balance between passing to rushing yards should not be that inflated of a difference. I really do believe that they're going into Nebraska next week, which is a rivalry game dating back to like the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's not really that big of a rivalry anymore. But I really do think that there's a chance that Colorado gets curb stomped by Dylan Raiola in Nebraska next week.
No, no, no.
I
Say what you were gonna say. They're gonna get dicked on. They're
they
gonna
they
get dicked on.
might. They might.
They're gonna
This
get dicked on.
defense is really bad.
I
This defense is
I
really bad.
I I think they're gonna I agree with you. They're not a good team. Um, but I ain't gonna lie, like I like Sanders, I like Travis Hunter, um, I like Horn. Those guys are really the ones that are keeping that team afloat. The rest of the team's kind of ass. Even the Shiloh Sanders, he's not good. He's not.
Shiloh's not going to get drafted. And I don't think he ends up on a team. I really
I
don't.
think
I
he
don't think he
will.
gets brought in as an undrafted free agent. He
I
has
think
no
he
talent.
will, but he's not good. I don't think he's good. I really don't.
This is the last I'll say on it. We have to get to the last game. I would be scared to death to turn in the card for Shadur Sanders in the top 10. I'd be scared to death because
At this point in time, he looked. Garrett, I'm not gonna lie to you. He looked good.
I understand
Like,
that, but the offense is so easy. They're not asking him to make a bunch of reads. It's basically look for Jimmy, look for Travis, and that's like on the play. That is your one read. And if you don't have that guy, you need to get out of the pocket. You need to run. You need to try to do something with your legs. And half the time he's going to be running this season because his offensive line is still really bad.
But Garrett, I can like I know what you're saying. He's looking for two wide receivers. That's most of the NFL half the time too, though.
Yeah,
Like
but
if you have a
most of
star
these
wide receiver,
quarterbacks at the next level have the processing to look at the different levels
correct.
and go through your reads. I don't know that Shooter can do that right now.
What I saw, at least, I'm not talking about the scrambling plays. I kind of take that as quarterback. And last year we both had this criticism of him of giving up on the play too early, or not trusting his pocket or not trusting his pocket, getting out of the pocket, immediately going, and it just becomes backyard football, which we did see a little bit of that. However, what I did see when he was in the pocket was he had better pocket awareness. He does move in the pocket a little bit better. Still made some good throws from the pocket. Got hit as he thrown a few times. Now, he can't change who his wide receivers are. If his wide receivers are Travis Hunter and Horn, that's what it is. And like if those guys are open or he trusts those guys to make those catch, I understand. I understand your idea of, hey, you got to be able, like at the NFL especially, you got to be able to go progressions. And we don't know at this point in time if he has that ability yet. He may very well have, or he might not. But from what I saw, at least, and this is a very small sample space going off of this year, not last year. Like I said, I've seen him last year. There is talent. I think there is talent. I think there is room to grow. But this team is so bad, we're not sure what we'll see. We're really not. Like, we're not really sure if we'll ever see him go through progressions like that. We'll never, like we talked about, the offensive line is so bad. If the offensive line is so bad, it's kind of hard to test his pocket awareness consistently.
That's fair.
Shit like
That's
that. So,
fair.
I, I, at this point in time, it is kind of an unknown, but if he has potential. And so, but there's guys that I don't think I would have put the card in for this year for, last year's quarterbacks. Like there's guys I wouldn't put in the top 10 for.
Shout out JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix is another one. I was scared of Bo Nix too. Like, and he looks okay. As of right now, he does have Sean Payton, but it's always if quarterbacks can develop who you want them into, and then if you have the right coaching staff to do it as well. I think that plays a big part. So,
I will say this, so I'm not a total like Shador hater. That kid is tough as nails.
oh yeah,
Holy hell, he is so tough. With the amount of hits he took last year, and he was playing banged up the second half of the year for sure. And then he took some hits in this game as well. and just standing in the pocket this year, taking some hits. He delivered, I think it was a post to Jimmy Horn, where Jimmy Horn, there was like 15 yards of room around Jimmy Horn, but Shador got rocked in the pocket and stood there and waited for the play to develop to deliver the pass to, I believe it was Horn.
It was.
That shows how tough he is. So I will give him credit.
Because I texted, I was like that because he was staying in the pocket, he moved
very,
well.
very tough.
Yeah.
Lastly, it has to be talked about. We have to talk about Notre Dame and A&M.
Fuck.
There is this weird thing going on that I've got Connor Weichman in the Hall of Fame, right? There's this weird thing going on that I've already put him in Canton, right? He's already got his gold jacket, which is ridiculous. And I know it's all for fun and stuff like that, but like I would be remiss if I didn't talk about his poor play. So Notre Dame went into Kyle Field and played Texas A&M, and they won by 10 points. They won 23-13. The game was won by Notre Dame on the ground. Jeremiah Love looked really, really sharp.
And their secondary.
Secondary headlined by Benjamin Morrison. Good safety play as well. Jeremiah Love went for 14 for 91 and a touchdown. He looked really poised. He looks like a good Notre Dame running back.
Mm-hmm.
Ruben Owens is out for the year, the talented freshman. We were hoping to see him this year. He's going to be missing time. Le'Veon Moss got the start at running back. 20 carries for 70 yards. It's a good Notre Dame defense. You would have liked to see a little bit more out of him, maybe in the passing game as well. I believe he only had one reception for 3 yards. Connor Weidman looked like ass. He did.
I will say, we're not talking about Riley Leonard because Weidman looked worse than he did, but Riley Leonard did not look good either. I mean, it was
no, but I think the expectations surrounding Riley Leonard were way less than Connor Weichman. Riley Leonard was not very good at Duke. He's kind of being brought into Notre Dame to be that stopgap game manager like Sam Hartman was supposed to be last year. I know we saw how that worked out, but Riley Leonard is kind of meant to fill that same role. And for the most part, he did his job. No, the stats aren't going to blow you away, but he did his job. Connor Weigman, you could argue, lost this game for Notre Dame. He went 12 for 30, Alex. 12 for 30 with 100 yards passing. He looked terrible. And I think my biggest criticism of him, kind of from last year, when the small sample size we got from him before he went down for the rest of the year with injury, and we saw it in this game as well, the footwork is everywhere. I will say that. The footwork is really, really bad, and that leads to poor ball placement. Accuracy at that second and third level is not
I don't even know if he saw the right people. Like, my man, he was throwing 10 yards off target. And I was like, bro, are you even aiming?
It all starts with that lower body. If you can get the lower body figured out, that stuff will come with time. If you're an A&M fan, you've got to be concerned after game 1. And I have gone on record before saying I was eating the cheese on A&M, and I'm concerned. Connor Weigman didn't take that step like a lot of people were expecting him to, and that's a major concern.
To be fair, it is a little reactionary. Notre Dame's defense played really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that should be dismissed for all of Weidman's poor play. It's also the first game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Notre Dame came in as what, the 7 seed, whatever.
7.
Like, you're playing a 7 seed as a 20. Like, it's not over for A&M, but they got work to do now. Like, and understand that, the expectations is a lot lower for you now, seeing how, but like, it's hard to go in and play, a top 7 team or top 10 team the first week and everything go right with the quarterback that's, coming off of injury. So, I mean, like, that, all that plays a factor in it. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not going to tell you it's chocolate when it's shit, but it was shit, but it's just like, there's still time to fix it. But you got to hope that you have your ducks in a row.
Well, and the biggest sign of how the season is going to go for A&M is next week. And what I mean by that is year over year, especially in college football, week 1 to week 2 is where you see the biggest adjustment in play. If a team plays like shit week 1, they actually have game tape to go off of, not just
except Florida State.
Well, that's fair.
My bad.
In theory, though, that's where you see the biggest jump in play in terms of quality of play because you have game film to watch. You can actually go into those film rooms, diagnose what went wrong, and then go out to the practice field and work on it. Whereas going into week 1, or for some of these teams, week 0, you don't have those other teams coming in. College doesn't do what the NFL does, where you have joint practices, which would be really interesting if they started doing that. But
that's what spring practice is for, I feel like, though. Like, don't they do that in spring practice?
No, they play. Yeah, they play each other in a game.
That's right.
But you are right. The season's not over for A&M, but there are some big question marks surrounding this offense.
I think if they to lose by 10, playing that bad can be almost encouraging.
A silver lining. Yeah. If there is a silver lining out of it, they only lost by 10 with how bad the offense looked.
Don't get me wrong. Like I said it before, like Riley Leonard, no, he wasn't good either. And so that's also why they didn't. But, Notre Dame's defense and the run game, like you said, carried them over that game. But, yeah, I mean, A&M, you have work to do. Weigman, you definitely have some work to do. Go salsa dance and get those feet figured out. And, hopefully we'll see better. But
that's it. This is the debut episode.
Wait, we didn't even do our player of the week. Oh my gosh.
Son of a bitch.
It's a good thing I'm here.
It's a good thing you're here because I would have just left that whole bit out of it.
You just said
I was ready to go. I was excited. I wanted to get your thoughts on how the show went week 1, but we'll get to that in a second, I guess.
Well, what we're gonna do though, I feel like what we should do is you should do, because I'm only a guest, is you should have a player of the week and then you should have a bad player of the week. Connor Weigman was the bad player of the week.
Yeah, Connor Weigman is the duck of the week.
The duck of the week. Quack.
The duck. Quack. The duck of the week goes to Connor Weigman. Player of the week, I will let Alex go first to give his player of the week in week 1 of the college football season.
Okay, before I say it, the one last thing about Connor Weigman that made me laugh that Trey said was when he said, okay, this made me laugh. This is the only time I laughed. I promise. He said, Chickster, you think he's going to go in the first ballot or is going to have to wait a year? That one made me laugh.
That made me laugh.
Okay. Player of the week. Got to go to my boy Cam Ward. Dude looked great. Oh, my God. He looked nasty. And there was a lot of questions about Cam Ward coming into the season. So, they're not bad questions, but just questions. Like I said, okay, he's a little he could be a little reckless with the ball. Is he going to take care of the ball? Is he going to be, consistent? These were all, legitimate questions that were fair questions. There's fair criticisms. So, as far as going against Florida, another team, it's supposed to be decent team, and not criticizing their fans. He played great so far. Now can he be consistent going forward? But I mean, what a great first showing. That, I mean, he was rolling out, getting his feet set, zipping balls in there, like balls that you didn't think were going to get there. They were getting there, threading needles. I mean, he looked nasty. He made me look like, oh, I'm going to go make a fucking Raiders jersey and put Ward on the back of it. I'm a big quarterback guy this year because I got to find my quarterback of the future for the Raiders. That's
hopefully.
What,
got to get one.
They got to find. All right. Got to find my Cinderella story.
I had 2 options, and I am kind of surprised you didn't go one of these 2 options. For a hot minute, I was leaning towards Air Mac from Arizona. Put up 3 touchdowns against New Mexico.
He played nasty.
He was absurd in week 1. You and I both have him as the wide receiver 1 in this class ahead of Luther Burden, but I am giving my nod to Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise State. 267 yards on the ground and 6 touched Alex. I get it. It's against
Georgia Southern.
I get it. He found pay dirt 6 times. 6 times.
Put me against some trash. I got it too. All right. Maybe not get Georgia.
You're getting
Southern,
4 yards on 6 carries before someone snaps your foot.
That's not even true.
Anyway,
I would tape it up.
Ashton Genty gets my player of the week vote for week 1 of Leave My Saturday Alone. Alex's goes towards Cam Ward.
There's 2 guys that I feel like need to be shout out. More guys. We talked about dude from Alabama. He's 17. The dude from Ohio State, wide receiver.
Jeremiah Smith, bro. He was on my list as well of guys who play ridiculous.
He deserves a shout. He deserves a
True
shout.
freshman as well, and he might be the best out of the bunch. He might be the best receiver in the room by
Hey,
year's end.
you know, Trey might say, I don't even know who this dude is, but Dylan Stewart.
Hey, shit, the world knows now.
Dylan Stewart, man. Have you seen that fucker? Fuck. That
nasty.
He can be good, dude. He can be fucking good. My only thing right now is, does he have more in his arsenal? He's got a really nasty dip move. He has the strength. Okay, now can he get a little bit more finesse to him? Now, or can he, because especially like right now, he can get away with it. But once you get to the NFL, if you make it to the NFL, like you're gonna have to find your counters. Okay, they're expecting me to do this. What can I do after? Okay, they're keying in on my dip. Now where do I go after the dip? Okay, bull rush right here. I can't always bull rush him every time. So he's fucking athletic as fuck. So I just wanted to shout out that too as well. But you know, Trey's gonna say you don't even know who that is, which whatever, man.
You know what? Maybe now we do.
Maybe
All right.
we do.
Now I can ask you how you think the first show went of Leave My Saturdays Alone.
I think we did good. We covered how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games.
7 games.
7 games. 41 minutes. That's 6 minutes. 6 minutes a game. That's not bad at all. Math teacher. So, you know, like that's easy. And we got, you know, players of the week in there, a few guys that we wanted to talk about. I mean, I feel like it's good. Like, you know, 5-6 minutes around just recapping the game. You know, you don't want to tell the whole story on it, but you just want to give you the fucking spark notes or the cliff notes, whatever the fuck they're called. You know, but you just want to give that out. So I think we did well. I think we did good. I think you and your future guests will also do well in keeping that. Now, if you get a fucking fan, yeah, you got to be prepared. Like you get Hannafin talking about Nevada, like you might be in trouble. Like
I feel like one of these weeks I have to have Hannafin on. I'm definitely gonna have Trey on at some point this year as well, and that's gonna be probably a fucking hour-long episode of just talking college football and just going on rants and rants and rants. I'm sure you're gonna come back as well.
I will.
I'm excited about this. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. I will say that going forward, we're going to try to keep it a little bit shorter. I know that Alex and I can yap and we can talk ball all day long. I did kind of want this to be like a 20-minute kind of thing. Someone could just watch really quick.
So we fucked up.
But not necessarily we fucked up, but like, that's what the first week is for.
There wasn't like just periods of, okay, can y'all get over it? It was, I feel like it was, you know, very quick. Like,
and there were no rants. There were no side tangents as well.
Quick hitters.
You and I are famous for side tangents.
Oh yeah, I'll do a side tangent all day long. And matter of fact, no.
Oh Lord. As we're going on a side tangent. All right, this has been Leave My Saturdays Alone. I'm your host Garrett Burroughs.
Leave alone.
Guest has been Chickster. We appreciate you clicking on this video. We're gonna bring you these videos every single week leading into the end of the college football season. If you liked the video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up on it. Comment down below how you thought the video went, your thoughts on these games, players we should look out for next week. If you haven't subscribed already to the Neta Sports Media YouTube channel, please press the subscribe button. We're going to see you next time.